comes to press conference, which has been convened to discuss our plans for the upcoming National Assembly elections. Before we get started, I would like to go ahead and introduce our partners at the table. Well, I'll start seated over there to across the way is Honorable Chancellor, National Assembly for Banking Law. And we have Dr. Mure. Honorable Khalifa Salva, and we have Honorable C.D. Ajata, and Dr. Muhammadi Quran sitting next to me. And to my left is Mr. Faisal So, and my name is Jeff Joa. Thank you very much. Now we will just say a short prayer before we get started. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, media practitioners. His spirit envelopes this room as we convene this press conference today with our partners. A spirit that has lived for South Africa, for Africa and the world. A spirit that will continue to hover around the globe because of its determination to give every aspect of life to ensure that others live as human beings should live on this earth. The spirit of Reverend Desmond Tutu must reflect in everything that we say and do today. It is a spirit that has captured what we stand for, to combat fraud, injustice, and ignorance on the face of the earth. He lived to fight that fight and died fighting it. It is for us to allow that spirit to grip us so that we too can never be comfortable on this earth until we have a world where no one lives in poverty, ignorance, and injustice. We are assembled here for a cause. We never anticipated that APP and Alhaji Muhammadi Quran will be sitting with us here today. Nor did we anticipate that we will work together during the presidential election to move around the country to spread the same message that our people deserve better. They deserve a fairer and better Gambia. And that could only be if we work hand in hand to eradicate the poverty of our people. Any injustice perpetrated against them and ignorance that keep them down and keep them on the rigid of the earth. We worked together. We came back to you and told you what the results were according to the institution responsible for the elections. One would have anticipated that because of those results, things will fall apart. We'll go our separate ways. But instead, we continue to persevere. We met, and we all concluded that based on what we saw on the ground, we don't know, but it seems to all of us that the people voted for us with their hearts and voted against us with their hands. That's our conclusion. We met several times. We interrogated everything. We are sincere to each other and sincere to ourselves. That's our conclusion. That our people still want something better. And that we have no right to rest our orders, but to persevere, to serve. This is why we agreed that we'll not stop at the presidential elections. We'll proceed to work together during the National Assembly elections so that we'll have a National Assembly that will be fit for purpose. That is why we are assembled here, to share what we agreed upon, to continue the journey to the next level. Agreement between DOIS APP and Alhaji Mamadi Quran with his Youth for Change on the 2022 National Assembly elections, dated 26th December 2021. With the undersigned representatives, having regard to Section 96 of the Constitution of the Republic of the Gambia, which states there shall be a general election of all the members of the National Assembly, which shall be held 4 months after the date of election of office of the President. Taking note of Section 88 of the Constitution, which provides for 53 elected members of the National Assembly from constituencies and 5 members nominated by the President. Being fully conscious of the values expressed in Section 112 of the Constitution, that all members shall regard themselves as servants of the Gambia, desist from any conduct by which they seek improperly to enrich themselves or alienate themselves from the people, and shall discharge their duties and functions in the interest of the nation as a whole, and in doing so shall be influenced by the dictates of conscience and the national interest. Whereas DOIS has 4 seats in the National Assembly, which has been a symbol of consistency and sincerity in defending the national interest without regard to any partisan consideration, whereas maintaining those seats is reasonable and justifiable and requires the support of all partners, whereas decision in the National Assembly on ordinary motions depend on the simple majority of votes cast when the Assembly is in session, whereas DOIS and its partners, APP and Alhaji Mamadi Quran, have so far identified 40 constituencies as indicated in the addendum to put up candidates in the forthcoming National Assembly elections, whereas DOIS selects its candidates through a primary, while the other partners may have other selection mechanisms dictated by their own constitutions or memorandum of understanding, whereas the partners may select candidates relying on their own principles and instruments, hereby agrees as follows: support each other's candidates in constituencies where they are selected to contest. Enter into a constructive conversation to settle all disputes where there is duplication of candidates. Appoint 5 mediators, 2 of whom should be a male and a female under 35 and 1 person with unique physical features, to examine the merit of candidates and select the appropriate candidate. The decision of the mediation team on candidature will be final and will be endorsed by all parties and candidates in good faith. All candidates who are not selected will fully participate in the campaign of the successful candidate. All parties to the agreement should begin a consultation process on candidature and participation in the 2022 National Assembly elections no later than 31st December 2022. This constitutes what the partners have agreed. And we had also made the decision that we convey this to the nation for your notice and consideration. Thank you very much for giving us. Now the partners will address you. Good afternoon, dear press. Good afternoon. Thank you, members of this team. Not much that I can add to what someone has said. As you clearly understood that this is something that we have worked on and we post-presidential elections. APP fully supports this partnership, and we believe is the best way forward. APP believes this is a formidable alliance that would work for the benefit of Gambians, address the basic necessities of Gambians. Without doubt, is the alliance that would get Gambia out of its poverty, ignorance, and injustice. APP is represented on this table by the president of the party, Mahaji Mutulu, and my humble Dr. Ibrahim, for Vibrant Ghana. We look forward to a partnership not only in the elections that we are expecting, but in the future. We believe we are in the right place for that. Thank you very much.
Perhaps more or less to complement what Dr. Jan has said. I believe we had set on a mission. That mission has yet to be accomplished. So that mission is bounded by commitment. That mission is bounded by determination from among the parties. That mission is properly based on trust among the parties. It is on that principle that the three parties are coming together and moving forward to contest the parliamentary elections. We sincerely believe that the country has heard us. We sincerely believe that the country is waiting. We sincerely believe that the time has now come that political change is effected for the benefit of the Gambian population. We believe the time has now come. We must look backwards and then look forward, that in this partnership lies the salvation of this country. We cannot afford to lose this opportunity, and we call upon all Gambians that here is an opportunity that we must take up once and for all. Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon, honorables. It's a pleasure to be here today to take part in this press conference. It's been a very fruitful engagement in terms of the partnership under the PDOIS coalition. And we at the Youth for Change take pleasure in being associated with the PDOIS-led coalition, having contested the presidential election. And we obviously must admit that we have learned a lot from the concluded presidential election. And we think it fit that this partnership is the way forward to take the country to another level, or the politics in the country to another level. And we believe that there is a lot in it for the future. The National Assembly is particularly important. As we know, the three arms of government, the executive, the legislative, and the judiciary, is obviously meant to maintain the balance of power. And therefore, we place very important emphasis on the National Assembly election as a means of putting checks and balances in the government. So we pledge and our support for this alliance, continuing support for this alliance. And we think we appeal to all our supporters to see the National Assembly as a very important election, as a very important election. Now that we have elected a president, we need a group of people in the parliament that are going to make sure that checks and balances are in place when it comes to bringing in legislation, when it comes to approving and discussing matters relating to budgets. So these are issues of significant importance and make the National Assembly of prime importance. We therefore think that all our supporters and the supporters of this alliance should see this coming National Assembly elections as another milestone for democracy in this country. We look forward to a very fruitful engagement, and I thank you all.
All right, thank you very much. The floor is now open for questions from the general press.
Lieutenant,
We know we have 18 registered political parties and only 5 participated in the presidential election. And now we have a partnership of 3. So, what if those who do not participate in the presidential election want to come and join? Is there any need for them or any other party, any independent candidates to join the agreement?
As you can see, there's a real open partnership. We have said that all partners will be able to put up candidates and then will be able to select 5 representatives of each partner so that they will be able to help in any duplication of candidature. So in actual fact, we have a very credible coalition that can be very inclusive, very open to partners, and it is constituted in such a way that the national interest is supreme. We've said it, that in performing our duties in the National Assembly, we must put conscience and national interest before everything else. So what we want are credible National Assembly members, competent National Assembly members. So we are trying to select the best for the nation. There is really no competition between departments. There is real collaboration in the national interest. That's the uniqueness of this coalition. There is no attempt to take control, to elbow, to control situations. And there is real openness so that ultimately we get the candidate who will be able to deliver the goods in the National Assembly. We are open for new participants in the process. I think that's open.
Yes. I just add a few words. APP sees that the right thing to do as preferable to us. We are open, and of course we welcome anyone, any political party that wants to join us in this partnership.
Yeah, actually, thank you very much. This question goes to both of you, APP and Alaji Kura Youth for Change and PDOIS. We want to know, how do you intend to run for this National Assembly election? Are you going in for all the 53 seats, or you will be specializing in areas that you feel like you can win those areas, or you are going for all the 56 seats? Sorry, 53.
Yes, I think we have already mentioned that we've met and we've agreed and that to properly guide you, you will see in our statement that 40, yes, we have identified 40 seats already out of the 53. And if we have more partners, we may have 53. But this is just identification. It does not automatically mean that we will contest all of them. But as it stands, this is really the direction. Right? We've identified 46. Okay, guide me properly. We mentioned it as 42 seats. Thank you very much. Yeah. So we've identified 42 seats. Yeah? 42 constituencies.
Yeah.
I hope we can
Yeah, it's answered. There's no other question in the floor, so you can wrap.
Yes, sir. On the issue of the mediators for the selection, I don't know if we need some more information about how their selection is and what their work is. That is not too clear from the applicant.
As you can see, what is really created is gender parity and the involvement of those whom you usually classify as the physically disabled in order to make the committees very representative. But it's the prerogative of each party to actually select the composition. So that is what is ingrained in the decision, that each party will actually do the selection, guided only by this principle of gender parity and participation of those who are classified as physically disabled. So we are capturing the signature, we are signing. No, I'm retrieving everything so that it is verified. No, the statement. Okay, so we are signing it, huh? And then they're going to get more for media house, huh? We're going to print more for the media house. Is it not better for us to sign it, take copies and then put it over? Yeah, okay, I think it's easier to do it here. But since these are there, you can just understand. But I hope I don't miss it all the time.
Okay. For the benefit of those who cannot speak English, if we have media houses that can ask their questions in the national languages, then you will get response in the national language, huh? Yes, you can ask your questions if you wish in the national language. So do you have questions in the national language or English? If you complete the English questions, then we can come to national languages. Okay, national languages, you can go ahead.
Yeah. They just want you to summarize in local language so that they are ready. Because there are radio stations here that only teach local language. Yeah, just take your mic, I'll explain. Take your mic.
Till one and in war, December come. Till one and in war, December come. Kafu saba le 20 jam pour kajibe mune be kela ila lodolat ning dipito woto womende na kachako ngaje po bangola maral tangut abunda tang kononto aning wo ay même fo wala bu ñenti ko karunan president woto ko la député woto wo ñanti mon ko min jibe wato wala mu president woto na bana do ko beban bari president de bugo katano député bugo ko loi ko dadano député bugo ko banko da nafulo am ko karfono député bugo ko banta ntol an banta le tempo ak keno député bugo ko oto kuuɓuka keno ñimbanko ka marroto difito ɗumon koma oto kuman kummaya ka tambi difito ɗumona wolaya kendi ka birin président woto tambita min kafu saba min kafuta ñooma pour ka jiiɓe fo mbe siremo taara naata si kotike ka jiiɓe fo na kafuñoya barkata ba amon bar ntolɓe sonto ko a toña natatala ñamen aman kewoña bari barko kay aba kolone mawon tata dula beeloto dulati je men mo ka fo ko kumo men fota aman bar tamande ña men ɓe fo kan aman bar mo nen ba fo kan wolman bar amunta ko barkoɓe kuuton e alon ko mo ɓe sonde ko kuuɓe to woto wolaya kendi kuuɓe to e buka ñanja mi sonta ko mbawo ɓe sonta ko ñimmo kuuɓe to leti kumo ko fof min bargata mon ne mba fof kan fana gonmo mollete mi yalon ko lanna molmu mo kendonu toña molmu e ɓawo wole ɓe fof kan an wole ka duniya lo wole si bankoɗala wole a kendi ɓe sonta ko wo kafuñoya a jarta pour asi continue bi mi sonta ko ɓe naala no kafuñoya ke manguñumol ñatirmol la ka sonko dol ɓe sonna pour no kafuñoya ke no mol tombon même ɓe ɗeɓete siramo ñinela doye baala kakela a kake ñaame ɓawo doye kake ñaame e kafudumol même ɓe constituence kono wole kela député tom candidate o tom oto doye baala takela APP fana baala takela mamade fana baala takela so isaje ko dawo daɓe yalon ko soso tate je ɓeɓe sonna tawo kadi ɓe to so ni soso taɓe je ɓe kafol londe mo lulu kafo sabol kono men ɓe siila ɗum fanan wo mo lulol fo musole tara je fo fonninkele tara je fo mume yalon ko landu tara fo fanan ɓe tarala je woto wo kafo lulol o mo lulol wole ɓe kafola ñooma ye momo tombo wo ɓe korsiroɓe pour kajiɓe fof mo wosi gañano anna gañen fanan fo aɓala dow ko kela a ñanta kela ñaamen député woto ni won yaaki ko toña won sa keno ye momo tombon to ɓeɓe sonna ka wo bam ka tambi woto na dani ɗo mo wonde ko ka son ñooma ko ɓe kafuñoya kela o kafuñoya ɓe fanan ɓe banko tammandela ñaato ala nafaɓe wonde tambindela ñaato nte pati investor tambindela ko jeeɗe fo ko men si banko nafa mbe tambindela wona mo leññinin ka fo kafu ɗon fanan si kafu ɗum toon ko ha n si kafu pour ni moya londi jam woɗo kana londi ɓawo wole ɓa kende la député ngol ni mol soto ɓe yalon ko toña eɓe tarala je molie ete tarala je papier ete tarala je ko ɓulamɓe manque bankola nafaata woto ko ca sutiya kam wo kamɓe ngo wole kete jam mbi min fota wona mo jannin kile tan saba anin kilin e mam moñante kala pour ha jiiɓe e mo men yalon ko wolle ñante kala kanine toon fonto commencé la kele kuña tese kaɗo ko ca sutiya kam wonde e liñ wax lu leer mooy ne day ñëw ànd ci waxtu wote président bi ñoo ànd dañ amoon yaakaar ne ànd gi dina jur barke léegi bi wote bi passé gis nañ ni mu def ñu toog laajaat suñ ko ndax ànd gi li mu jur war naa tax ñu ne ànd gi ñu tas ko wala ànd gi ànd naa barke boo xam ne waratut a tax ñu tas ko dañ ko war a suuxat dundal ñun nag nañ gisee barke dafa wuti ndaxte liñ gisee barke gi mooy li nga wax ndax nit ñi gëm nañ ni loolu lu am fayda la lu am njëriñ la lu déggu la li nga jëf ndax lu am fayda la ndax lu déggu la waaw li ñu gis mooy ci suufi Gambie ne fi ñu dem wax yépp benn kàddu bi la ñuy dégg seen wax day kenn mënu cee am lu ci wax kenn gisu ci si wax ji wax ju déggu la wax ju baax la lii mooy waxi réew mi lii mooy njëriñu réew de loolu la ñu dégg soo leen déggee leen nga wax ne itam ñi ko wax itam ñu ne nit ñu déggu lañu nit ñu màndu lañ nit ñu baax lañ ñun de noonu lañ gisee barke day mooy lu baax lu déggu lu am njëriñ lu ñu toogee ñu ne man de lu am barke la lu am barke nag doo ko tas da nga koo suuxal te li mu war a jur juróomu ko waaye soo ko suuxalee du mun a jur lu safaanoo ak li nga xam ne moo tax mu taxaw mu mel ni loolu moo tax ñu ne bon nag ànd gi bu ñu ko tas gannaaw léegi député yi nekk na bunt boo xam ne amul luwaa bu ñu mën a defar ci réew mi ci gannaaw néeg boobu alali réew mi duñ ko waxtaane fenn fu dul ci néeg boobu suñ jëflanteeg bitim réew duñ ko waxee fenn lu dul ci néeg boobu bon nag amul dara loo xam ne ni luy dox la ci suufi Gambia loo xam ne mun nga koo doxal te boolewuloo ci néeg boobu bon nag néeg boobu am na solo ñu ne nit ñi moom soo waxee président rek ñoom fàtte nañ lépp li ci des ñu ne wànne nag néegi député bi kenn mënu koo fàtte gannaaw néeg bu am solo la ñu ne moo tax ñu toogati ne gannaaw ànd gi dafa war a continuer nañ seet naka la ñoo fexe ba néeg boobu ñu am fa nit ñoo xam ne du ñu xalaatati dara lu dul njëriñ réew suñ fa nekkee duñ topp seen mbiri parti duñ seet seen bopp liy njëriñi réew mi moom la ñuy xool moom la ñuy def ñu ne bon nag naka lañ war a amee loolu ñu ne bon nag nañu d'accord et lu toogu ci ñeneen fukki toogu ak ñaar daal seet nañu ko ne foofu mun nañ faa def nit mun naa yokku mun naa wàññeeku waaye loolu lañ gisagum ñu ne bon nag ñii nga xam ne ñoo bokk APP ak Alaaji Mamadi Koron ak doy ku neex ci ñoom nañ seet ci toogu yi yëpp ñu seet naka la ñu tànnee koo xam ne kii dina ko war a taxaw suñ ko seggee te gis ne am na place yoo xam ne laalantewul ndax kii teg na fa te ñeneen ñi teguñu fa loolu ñu daal di d'accord ci ñoom jàppale ñu su fekkee nag ni dafa am kii teg fii keneen teg fa itam ñu ne bon nag dinañ jël juróomi nit ñoo xam ne dinañ ci boole ay ndaw ak ay jigéen ñi nga xam ne amoon na ca nekk ci comité bi juróomi nit ak koo xam ne kii am na télé ñu ne ñooñu dinañ leen boole ñu seet candidate yi candidate bi téye na mun naa gañe foofu te su fa gañee itam su nekk ci léegi député dina fa wax lu am fayda loo xam ne dafa nekk njëriñu réew mi su ko defee kuñ tànn ci ñooñu ñëpp ñun ñëpp ñu d'accord ci loolu jàppale mu mel ni ànd googu moom la ñu tabax tey mais moom la ñu war a continuer te war nañoo fexe balaa ñett fukki fan ak benn ci weeru décembre ñu jël ci ay jéego seen ndax nañu mën a mutal ànd boobu ni ko war a mutale daanaka loolu mooy waxtaan yaakaar naa ne su fekkee ne am ngeen dara lu leen laajte ñu leeral ko wax bi ñu jeexal ko ci làkk réew Well, it's my final turn to issue my statement. We've heard from ABP, loud and clear. From Alhaji Mamadu Koran, loud and clear. that we have built a partnership for the salvation of the Gambia. Those are very strong words, but they reveal a commitment. And every step in the transformation of society starts with commitment. Those who are committed to something and they persevere to the end are achievers. We have seen that we have made a good start. The good start is to reach the people and deliver a message to them. A message that is convincing. A message that can indeed address their needs and aspirations. Still, the reports are there. ITV, I'm sure, still has all the documentation. So we do not need to state what is not true. The evidence is there of people saying very clearly that the message we deliver to them is the type of message that can lead to the transformation of this country. So we must be honest as a Gambian people to assess situations correctly. If we assess the 2021 presidential election with objectivity, without prejudice, we'll be convinced that as far as programmatic policy issues, this coalition has been the primary institution that delivered such issues. Our whole campaign is about program. We are convinced that what we said about our local government structures, regional government structures, is true. For 56 years, they are incapable of delivering good roads in our villages, hospitals, schools, electricity, proper water supply. They are incapable of doing so, also in the urban areas. That is why everywhere we see Stone Age structures that none of us would be proud to bequeath to our children and children's children. That is the reality. We told them that it is possible to eradicate this by ensuring that we dismantle the structure and introduce a new structure where the rates paid by the people, the licensing paid by the people, will go into their own village treasuries and ward treasuries for their development. That is the program of the coalition. So if you want to assess our success or failure, you must assess whether the people go and do your research and ask the people whether they would want the current structures to remain or they would prefer the structures that we have introduced to them. That's what a researcher does. And if you do that, you'll be convinced that the people of the Gambia stood for system change. Because that's the system change we convey to them. We convey to them that their young people are sitting down every single day. You're talking about their dinky attire, doing nothing, attacking them of being useless. We say that they are not useless. It is the system that has failed to take care of its children. And the country should take care of its children. And we said we would have organized those young people, registered them, trained them for 2 years, 1 year, so that they have the skills and they will go to a cooperative bank to be able to receive interest-free loans, to be able to be functional. That's what we said. That's the system we advocate. Go and interview all the young people in this country and ask them whether they oppose to that. That's the referendum. Go and ask them whether they support or oppose to that. And I can tell you 100% they will say they will support such a movement. We are saying since 56 years, we have not had a government that had made it a deliberate policy to build sovereign wealth, to create a sovereign wealth investment fund, to invest in our ocean, land, in all parts of our minerals, so that they produce enough to invest more and build the productive base of our economy, to have the industries. That's what we said. Go and interview the people and assess them and ask them where do they support that. They will say that they support it. So to conclude, we have talked about free education, 12 years education policy. And at the end of the 12th year, that the person can now go for national service. After national service, your cooperative bank will assist you to be able to have a free interest loan. So this is what we spoke about. For the women, for everybody, for the farmers. So to us, the message was accepted, and you, the young people of this land, must not allow anybody to mislead you. Go back to the message and debate about the message, not whether we had 10 votes or 20 votes. That's left to the voter. That is left to the voter. For us, is what we have to offer. If we give you good oranges, and you go and buy rotten ones, is that our business? It's not our business. We're not saying anybody is rotten. We're just giving you that what we have to offer is good quality. And if you're going to assess us, assess the quality of our product. We gave you a product that nobody on this earth will be able to discredit as bad product. So we delivered. Whether the people buy our product, well, it's left to them. But if you're going to assess our performance, assess our product, and assess the quality of those who deliver the product. Compare the quality of those who deliver the product and others. That's what an assessment should be. That's what a referendum is. You have to have a referendum question. What is the question? Is it the quality of leadership that could be delivered by all this group? Assess that. Is it the quality of the product that we intend to implement? Assess that. But if you want to assess the quality of the voter, go and assess the voter, not us. Go and assess your voters. So in short, we are ready to go on with the journey to accompany you as a people. To know that election, yes, there is truth, but there is also tactic. Today somebody can tell you, unless a political party has majority in the National Assembly, it cannot deliver its policies. And it's fabrication. It's not fact, it's fiction. Because this past 5 years, the government in office did not have a majority in the National Assembly. But every development that has taken place because there are National Assembly members convinced that they should put national interest before personal interest. even if there are some contradictions here and there, ultimately, national interest prevail and development continue to take place. What we now need in the National Assembly are National Assembly members who are principled. And this coalition intends to give Gambia a new start. First, by ensuring that there is no competition among us in terms of candidature. What we want are people who are ready to serve to come out from our respective parties. Then we assess the possibility of winning in the constituency and assess their capacity to deliver. And when that happens, we will support anyone, irrespective of party affiliation. That's a new start for the country. That should have been the new start when we had the coalition. To have National Assembly members selected by the primaries to go into the National Assembly for no partisan purpose but to defend the national interest. That was the objective, but we could not achieve that. But now we also want to offer you that possibility, that all parties in the country can now come together, all those forces, so that we can continue this process of identifying the best candidates who can deliver in the National Assembly and support them. That is the agenda that we have. And it should be clearly explained to the Gambian population that you have a force which is open, inclusive, allowing the best to emerge, so that we have a National Assembly that is fit for purpose, a National Assembly that will guide the executive to do what is right in the interests of the public. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. This press conference has come to conclusion. We thank you for your attention and your attendance. Thank you very much.
So, text,